Guys, welcome back to the MrTux channel, and thank you for coming to check out our video on optimizing Streamlabs OBS settings. Today, what I wanted to go over with you guys is really important because it could mean your stream quality is either incredible and amazing, or it is absolute and utter dog. So if you guys want to be able to see how I or somebody else, one of your favorite streamers, has the quality that they have on their streams, it lies in the little details, specifically the settings. So today what we're going to be going over is the Streamlabs OBS settings that I have, that I run on my stream. You guys have seen my stream, and talk about a little bit if they're the optimal settings for you, depending on what you're trying to do with your stream. If you're playing PC, if you're playing console, if you're using a desktop, or if you're using, a lightweight laptop. We're going to cover everything today. So let's just jump over here. I'm going to switch my scenes here so that you guys can see. We're going to be going over our settings and how we're able to make it look like we know what we're doing here. I don't want you guys to burn out your computers. And by saying that is, if you guys are using your CPUs to run and render your video qualities instead of your GPUs using NVENC, it's really likely that you could just burn out your CPU. And that's not what I want to see in the comments, like you guys are doing that, or that's what has happened before. These settings, they're really just to optimize your stream, but not burn out your computer either, which you may have to sacrifice a little bit of quality, but not that much. So let me show you, and I'm also going to show you one trick along with showing you the specific settings. Let's run through that real quick. Okay, so we're going to go through the settings, but what I wanted to show you guys first was my task manager, my performance. As you can see right now, 60% of my CPU is being used because I have both Streamlabs OBS and OBS Studio running at the exact same time. And that spike is when I just started up Slobs. So when I go over to my processes over here, you can see that, Streamlabs is taking up 15%, and my OBS Studio is taking up a lot less. It's just because there's a lot involved with my slobs. My OBS Studio doesn't have all of my scenes and sources and everything in it. That's going to come into play when you guys decide whether or not to use your CPU usage or your GPU in order to render your video, render your streams as it's going. So let's jump into Streamlabs now so that we can take a look at our settings, and I can show you hopefully the only tool that you are going to need. If you guys are streaming on a one PC setup and you're playing console, there might be like a couple settings that we'll tweak so that you can actually have better quality. But if you're doing one PC setup where you're streaming and gaming on the same thing, I would most definitely use your auto optimized that Streamlabs gives you, because this is going to configure all of your hardware that's in your PC, and it's going to give you your best settings, your best options to use with your PC. And I wouldn't change too much if you're on a one PC setup. What this will do, even on my PC, it's going to set my entire stream down, my resolution, my output down to a 720. When normally I stream in 1080, I have the option that you can watch it in whatever resolution that you want, but it's going to set this in 720. Let me show you guys. I'm going to run auto optimize. It's going to start analyzing. It'll go through and it'll automatically place the best settings for you and your PC. So this is what it's doing for me. After this is done, we're going to go through and we're going to readjust all the settings. So now that it's finished, we're going to go through every single one of these settings. So we hit the auto optimize. We're going to go through. We're just going to go over to stream. We're going to go output. Well, first I'll point out the bit rate is 6,000. Now the reason why it's 6,000 is because I have good internet. And Twitch and Mixer, these sites normally don't want you going above a 6500 bit rate. If you go above 6500 bit rate on Twitch, they don't tell you this, or just in the small print, they will actually lower your resolution down to 480 automatically on their site, because they will not render anything that is over a 6500 bit rate. Just play safe. 6000 is fine. You're going to be able to do 1080p, 60 FPS. It's good like that. So, but the first change that I want to make is just switch this simple to advanced, your output mode. Just go to advanced. It gives you all of the options that you can actually go through. And in simple, it doesn't have all of the tabs like you could have with your recording and everything. They just give you a brief summary of everything. Go to advanced so you can get a better feel of what this is doing. Your rate control, you want CBR, and your hardware encoder. This is where I was talking about with your CPU usage and your GPU. Now I'm streaming with NVENC. That means that it is using my graphics card to render my stream. Typically, if you just install Streamlabs OBS or OBS Studio, what it will do is it's going to put this in software so that everything is rendering inside of Streamlabs OBS, and that is going to be using your CPU usage, not your GPU usage. If you use your actual hardware like it gives you the option for, and please just use the NVENC new option right here, then it's going to use your GPU usage. If you look over here at my performance, hardly anything is using my GPU, and my CPU usage is at 60%, 50 and 60%, because I'm running both OBS softwares. I'm running Spotify, Discord, my Go XLR software, my Stream Deck software. I'm running like 7 different Internet Explorer tabs. I've got a lot open, so it's going to be using a lot right at this moment. But that's what I wanted to show you guys. You guys want to be able to utilize your GPU, so do that and use your NVENC encoder. Now also what this did is that automatically the reason why it did that is because this is a gaming PC. Slobs identifies it as a gaming PC, and it thinks that I'm going to be gaming on it and streaming on it, which I'm not. I'm actually going to be using my PS4, which I always do. I'm a console peasant. Don't judge me. We all stay in our own lane. If you have over 10 megabit down and 10 megabit up internet, you should be able to stream in 1080p 60 FPS, unless people in your house are just taking over the bandwidth. What I have here is I have 1,000 down and like 50 up, but it's more than enough for 6,000. It's only when you start getting down to like 5 down and 5 up that you should be really worried about what you're doing. Maybe you're going to be down to like 3,000 bit rate and like a resolution quality of 720p. And I'll go over that in a second. It's not too difficult to move around and change things with that, but it really depends again on if you're streaming on a single PC setup, a double PC setup, or if you're streaming console like I am. Over here, we want to make sure that we have good quality. Max quality is best. High, that's fine, that's good. Now if we go over to recording, make sure, because last time when I did this, it set me as FLV as a file type to save all my recordings, and that file type is no good. You want MP4. Yep, that's fine. Everything's good. Audio bitrate, you guys don't even need to worry about that. 160 is fine. Replay buffer, we don't need to worry about that. Audio, we're going over to audio. 44 hertz, that's fine. This is just making sure that you guys have all of the proper equipment running to the proper channels in your mixer inside of Slobs. So here's your mixer down on this side. You have your desktop audio. If I open this up, I go to properties. It's system 2 in my TC Helicon Go XLR. In here, I have my system. That right there, that has all of my desktop audio. So I want to make sure that everything from here is right here in my desktop audio, which is good. My mic, which is right here. My mic aux, which is my chat mic, which is good. That's fine. That is my mic right here. Everything's perfectly fine. Discord, this is my console. So everything feeds through my Go XLR. So everything's good there. Now, this is where I wanted to talk about specifically. right here, it's going to say, well, it may not on yours if you have a higher end PC, or if you have a double PC setup and you have one specifically for streaming. But right here on mine, it's going to put our resolution down to 720. And the reason why it does that is so that it's making sure you're not going to be dropping any frames if you decide to game and you're going to be streaming on the same console. We don't do that. We stream only with the PC and we play console. So I am able to put this up to 1080p and not have any issues. Keep it at 60 frames per second. Everything is fine. Advanced settings, process priority. You know, you set the priority for your stream, rendering everything as the highest priority. But there's a manual way that you can do this, and it's very, very simple. When you go to open up your Streamlabs, you go over to Streamlabs OBS, right click on it, and run as administrator. If you guys do this, it'll set your stream and rendering and everything as the highest priority. So if you are gaming on your PC, whether you have it in 720p or not, it's gonna look like you're dropping every frame. It's gonna look like you're rendering like 6 frames per second. It's gonna look terrible. I mean, as you're playing the game, it's not gonna look bad. It just to your eyes, but to your stream, it's gonna look like you're majorly lagging, I guess. Run as administrator, so it sets your OBS as the highest priority. So that's what's rendering first. That's the highest priority. That's what you want to do on that. You also have that setting availability here to do that, but I would recommend just running your Streamlabs OBS as administrator. So it fixes this problem. You don't need to set this back down or anything, but just leave it as is right there on high. Getting down to audio monitoring device, you want that's fine. Sample a stream delay if you want your stream delay. I personally don't have a stream delay. Automatically reconnect. So in case you do have a poor connection and your bitrate drops and you start dropping frames and then it lags, or the streamer or the server goes off, or your internet just tanks. Let's say your internet will spike back up after a little bit. But normally, if this was set to 0 and you just said, you know, don't retry, don't to try to reconnect, your stream will just shut off. Even at like the slightest lag where it thinks like your internet is just gone, it disappeared, it's never coming back, it'll shut off your stream. Just retry it after 10 seconds. Your stream may skip out 10 seconds, but at least you're giving your internet 10 seconds to catch back up. You see what I mean? So 10 seconds is fine. I wouldn't suggest anything less than that, because say your internet just doesn't register back to your PC, just give it enough time. 10 seconds is not that big of a deal. Somebody's gonna look like, oh, is he lagging? Well, his internet dropped and it came right back, so that's fine. This right here also has to do with your bitrate and your network. So say your network is just dropping and your bitrate, which say mine 6,000, my internet can't handle it at that very moment, either because of the bandwidth going through my home, and I've got one of my sons watching one thing, the other one watching another thing, my wife watching a third thing, and she's got a laptop open, and I've got my phone connected and it's doing something, and your bandwidth is tanking. It's not specifically your internet. This will change your bitrate automatically just to deal with whatever your network is at that particular moment. At one time, it may look like your stream is a little laggy, because what bitrate actually looks like in game or on stream is when you're moving around very quickly, it'll look choppy. It'll look a little pixelated if you don't have a higher bitrate. So if you have a higher bitrate for 720, it's really not needed, because 720 is already not like a great resolution. If you're running 720, you could have a 3500 bitrate or a 4000 bitrate. It'll look perfectly fine. It'll look normal. If you have a 1080p 60 FPS bitrate, you need to have your bitrate at 6000. But if your internet starts tanking or your bandwidth starts tanking, this will save you. Just clicking this on, this dynamically changing bit rates. This is great. Because even for a minute, it'll drop down and it'll look a little choppy, but the Streamlabs is prioritized, my PC is prioritized, so my bandwidth will come here and it'll rejuvenate, it'll kick back up and be in gear. So that is one particular setting I do suggest that you hit. The two that are the most important after setting up your main stuff, after optimizing your OBS, that they don't normally check off after auto optimize, is this, the dynamically change bit rates, and something that you should always do before or when you open Streamlabs is run as administrator. Low latency mode, that's just so when I'm talking to my stream will be like 5 seconds behind of what I'm actually saying, so people are going to be right there with me. Unless you're a professional gamer or like an S&D star or a battle royale player where you have stream snipers, I don't suggest putting on any kind of delay. If you do have a delay and you are one of those people, take off low latency. You don't need it. Go put on a stream delay, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it may be. And that's where you want to do that at. You want to enable it and touch up whatever you want. You could have it at a full minute. I don't really want to do that. I feel like that hinders a stream because I want to be interactive with my viewers. And if I'm interacting with what they're saying that happened from like 2 minutes ago, I mean, it's not really interacting. Like, they gotta wait that long for some kind of response. I don't like that. I like to have low latency. I like them to be right there. I don't really care about like a stream sniper right now at this point. I just go with what I think is best to be there and talk with my chat. So I would say those are the best. The most important things to look out for after auto optimizing. But if you guys are streaming on like some kind of like laptop, I would stick with the settings that it gives you after auto optimizing. Most laptops don't have the ability to go past 720. There's not a big difference between 1080 and 720. I mean, you go look at one of my streams and you render it in 1080 and render it in 720. There is not a huge difference between the two. We go back to video. This is what I'm going to be recording in as 1080, and then my output, why would I put it out as 720 if I have the capability of rendering, if I'm bringing it in at 1080? I know my PC has the capability of pushing out in 1080 as well, and I have the internet to be able to use my 6000 bitrate, so I'm going to use that. I'm not gaming and streaming on the same PC. I'm only gaming on my PS4 and everything's going into my PC. So I would use that. If you're using a laptop though, I wouldn't want you to push it past 720. You may start dropping frames and you're gonna like kill your GPU. It's gonna fry. You're gonna like fry your graphics card inside of laptops. Some of them, unless it's like a specifically designed gaming laptop that has a great GPU in it, I don't suggest it. And even then, if you do, you don't want to put that kind of stress on it so that, you know, your laptop only lasts a year or 2 years. And then you got to like either get a new graphics card for it or just get a new freaking laptop. I would suggest just go with those settings until you can afford something better and then move on to that. But to say that somebody is going to leave your stream just because it's in 1080, it's not in 1080p and you're only streaming in 720, half the time when I'm watching somebody stream, I render it in like 480 because I have so many other processes going and I'm really just trying to interact with the streamer when I'm watching, but I'm also doing other things. So, I mean, honestly, if you put it in 720, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. I think it's still really good quality. People can see what's going on unless you need like crystal clear vision of what's happening at all times and you have a PC that's capable of doing it. I don't see a reason for you to do that unless you have those capabilities. So I think 720 is just fine. So guys, I appreciate you guys taking a look at all this. Hopefully I was able to answer your questions and that you guys were able to, you know, optimize your settings for you and the best settings for your PC to be able to put out great quality content. If you guys still do have a question that I didn't answer specifically about Streamlabs OBS settings or your OBS studio settings, hit me in the comments. You guys know I always reply to my comments as, you know, as much as I possibly can, and I'm always going to be answering questions. If you guys want to come see me live and ask me questions there, I'm always live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday at 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern until about 10:30, 11, or like last night, 1 o'clock in the morning. Come in, hang out, ask me questions. I'm always doing my best to answer any questions that you guys have. Also, you guys can hit me on Twitter, link to that down in the description as well. You guys can tweet at me. I'll always try to answer your questions. Also, though, we have a pretty good Discord server, and if you guys want to jump into that, I'll have a link down there as well in the description. And you guys can jump in there, share some pictures or videos or questions that you guys have about your own setups. Anything that you guys have about questions is always welcomed, and there are tons of people in there that are always trying to help out others. We really want to be able to help you guys have the best quality stream and have the best time while you guys are streaming and creating content. It's very, very difficult to create content and clear your head to create good content when you're always so hung up about what the best settings are, what the best hardware is, what the best light is for my face cam. Guys, stop thinking in that sense. Think about your content. Just put out good quality content, the best that you possibly can. I'm going to be here trying to help you guys with what settings that you may need, or the direction, or a little bit of a better light of what direction you want to take. Guys, if you ever have any questions, don't be afraid to contact me in one of the ways that I commented about before, or that I said before. Links down in the description down below. Always hit me up if you ever got any questions. I'll always be available for you guys. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Stay busy, guys.